Okay, Manny. Who are we probing today? Oh, come on, Manny. You said I could probe somebody.
Welcome to UFO Buster Radio with your hosts Manny Moonraker and Big O.
Hey, this is Manny Moonraker, and this is episode 90 of the UFO Report. It's coming out a little late because, I had to take care of some domestic business. You guys know what that is. But we got two news stories to talk about. It's going to be fascinating, interesting, and, what can you do? At least we got two. It's not the normal rubber dicking stuff. It's not about the last two that we had, but apparently a ufology great is being questioned as far as whether or not he's a straight shooter when it comes to the topic. And then finally, some people are talking about the so-called potential false flag. Before we get into that, follow me on social media at Facebook. The pages Manny Moonraker and UFO Buster Radio, on Instagram at Manny Moonraker, and on Twitter, UFO Buster Radio. And thank you guys for sharing, for liking, for joining, subscribing, and so forth. Especially on YouTube. The show is actually sent over to YouTube as an audio format. There is no video. I think there's a couple of videos on there, but right now it's simply audio. But we've had quite a few people join the YouTube format. And it's something that I'm going to build in the near future, with actual video of the podcast session. I mean, it'll just be me, just talking shit. It's like I do, day in and day out. But this is episode number 3 for this week, and I said I'd do it. I don't know about next week. We'll see what happens. Domestic duties tend to take precedence sometimes, and sometimes you can put them off. Sometimes you get, you know what I'm talking about. That's life. Shit happens. So the first article is about our little Pentagon Tic Tac video, David Fravor and everybody else that's involved with that video being released. And the article title is Pentagon UFO Claim Alien Disclosure May Be a False Flag to Introduce Martial Law. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see that video promoting martial law. Now, the article has a statement in here which is this: a frequently voiced suspicion that the government may be laying the groundwork to present extraterrestrials as the next threat to national security, requiring further increases in military spending and the curtailment of civil liberties. Listen, we've seen all of that happen over the last few years, especially after 9/11. This discussion about civil liberties, discussion about, martial law, people being ostracized from society because of their religion and so forth. But let's go beyond that. Is it possible that this stinking little video, which really didn't show us a damn thing, is enough to start martial law? Now, we already know that last year they let the cat out of the bag that there is going to be a Space Corps in the near future, which was already signed upon and agreed to by the members of Congress. The Space Corps is going to be part of the Air Force. For those of you who want to maybe take a chance and join the Space Corps and see what that's about. But what really is funny about this article is that the theory came up through a meeting that was held at a Washington branch of MUFON. Of all places to see anyone talk about false flag operations, the last place that I would think it would happen would be MUFON. According to this, the people that attended the meeting at this Washington MUFON pretty much felt that they were validated because the New York Times coverage kind of supported their claim that they think that this is really just a way for the government, the United States, the Pentagon, the military, and so forth, to take a bigger chunk of the pie, take your freedom away, put in martial law, because now we have a significant threat coming from 4.2 far. And there's a quote in here that says that this is a clear ramp up to false flag fake disclosure designed to prepare people for a threat from outer space, so the warmongers and war profiteers have a new, bigger enemy. Beware. I'm sorry, but the people that put out fake stories and kind of hoax you day in and day out regarding ufology and UFOs, those are rubber dickers, right? But these guys with these conspiracy theories, those are rubber dickers as well. So these guys were all in Washington rubber dicking each other until they finally came to a conclusion that maybe there's a false flag operation and, basically the government's going to rubber dick everyone. We're probably going to get stuff tattooed on us to track us. I don't know. Personally, this video to me is not enough to start martial law or to try to say that we're going to be invaded from the Palladians or somewhere on the other side of the galaxy. Doesn't work for me. But you guys, you read the article, the link is in the description. What do you guys think? Is this a way for the government to start, rubber dicking us, keeping us in check like cattle? I don't know. I just don't see it. Now, if we had a shitload of videos like people have been saying that there is, then I could see that maybe. Like if we had them present to us something that was really credible, but there isn't. All we have is this video. We have David Fravor's comments, and we know that there's some kind of evidence in Las Vegas locked up by old crazy man Bigelow, but that's all we know. We don't really have anything besides that. And of course you add the fact that we have a bunch of rich fuckers who are trying to keep the information all to themselves. So I can't make that leap right now. But if you think so, make a comment, send me a tweet, let me know if this is a false flag rubber dicking operation by the powers that be.
Coming to you from the hills of Texas right here, UFO Buster Radio is now on the air. You can visit Manny and Big O at UFOBusterRadio.com. That's right, this is Bubba Doohickey saying, boys, squeal like a pig. Oink, oink, oink.
Okay, so the next one is quite fascinating because it's fascinating to me only because when I first started the podcast, I read a book by this individual and I found it interesting. Now, for some reason, he made a statement recently, and now people are starting to ramp up the call to say that maybe he's a disinformation agent, a mole. The title for this article is "I'm Not a Mole, Former MOD Man Shock Statement Amid Claims He Covers Up UFO Truth." This article is talking about the individual that we know as Nick Pope. And it's a nice little article. It's very short. If you want to read it, great. The link is in the description. But here is what it says. Nick Pope worked for the British MOD, which is the Ministry of Defense, from 1985 to 2006. And between 91 and 94, he ran extensive research into any potential defense threats related to the UFO phenomena. Sound familiar, right? We just had this come about with the Pentagon. That project also was shut down because they concluded there are no threats. Again, deja vu. But what's happening with Nick Pope is that he made a statement which is quite shocking, especially since he's got books about UFOs. But anyway, according to the article, he recently made a statement regarding this fact that although he believes aliens must exist somewhere in the universe and that there have been some inexplicable UFO sightings, he does not believe any ETs have ever made it to the planet Earth. I'm going to let you digest that for a second. So here it is. Nick Pope does not believe that there was any ET visitation to the planet Earth. For many people, that's hard to digest, But let's be honest. He's told everyone time and time again that there was really not much in the way of evidence when it comes to UFOs coming from 4.2 far when he was at the Ministry of Defense. I think he's been pretty clear about that. And I think he's also been clear about the fact that though some of those stories were fascinating and they were good to read and research, that it was all inconclusive. But for someone to go to conferences all around the world and talk on things like Rendlesham, the Pentagon issue, Roswell, how is it that he will continue to hold on to credibility when the topics that he's talking about has to do with ET landing or crashing or abducting people on this planet? It's a hard pill to swallow. I'm sorry, Mr. Pope. But you got to figure out which side of the rubber dicking you're going to be on. You got to figure out if it's going to be with or without the Vaseline. And at this point, it is very possible that I may be leaning towards Mr. Pope being a bit suspect with that statement that he made. But the article is linked in the description. Check it out. I say it's real short. It gives you a little quick glimpse at Nick Pope if you don't already know his stuff. He doesn't live in the UK anymore. He lives in the United States, I believe in Arizona somewhere. But don't go looking for him. And don't say I sent you. But in any case, this is episode 90. It's coming to an end. If you feel Nick Pope is rubber dicking everybody and you want to blast them, feel free to do it. Use some of my social media channels. Let me know what you think. And if I get enough of these responses, then I'll definitely bring it up on Monday's episode. But don't let these people who you've been reading their books like I did rubber dick you. Eventually, they show their true colors. Now the question is, which is the real Nick Pope? Laters.